Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Friday.
There we go.
Just letting everybody join on in as they're clicking in here. Hello, hello. Some beautiful faces I haven't seen in a while. Hi.
Hi.
I was trying to get my presentation to go up on the screen behind me, but it's just not working out. I wish I was more technically savvy. Maybe one day. It's great to see everybody coming in. I'm just going to give a minute or so. Just pull up the presentation. Just so I can get an idea of how many people, by a raise of hand or a like in their chat room, have done a liver gallbladder cleanse before. Just show of hands.
Mama, please watch a movie.
All right.
There you go. There it is.
Can you see the presentation? Good.
Yes.
And can you still see the presentation now, too?
Yes.
Yes. Great. Thanks, Lizzie. All right. So let's see. Let's show of hands. We've just got one person that said that they've done a liver cleanse before. Two people now. So good. I just want to make sure that I cover any questions that you might have. So this is a pretty detailed conversation. There's going to be a lot of ad-libbing and also bringing in information and ideas for you to consider for yourself. Because from internal wisdom's perspective, we are all different and at different stages of our well-being and processes. So there's no one size fits all as far as everybody should do a liver cleanse. I would never say that. I would say this is an opportunity for you to ask questions and discover if this is maybe right for you. And if not, how could you prepare your body to be able to do a liver cleanse or to help support your liver in a different way? A month or so ago, I did a presentation on the cardiovascular system, and we were really talking about the role of cholesterol and why we get, that in our veins and we get clogged up, and the blood is life. Well, if the blood is our life force, then the liver is our filter. Just like in our homes, we have filters, right? To filter the air and the air conditioning. And we have that same thing that happens in our liver. So it's a vital, important organ to take and keep working and optimally, especially.
Heads up, the Colonial Heights Public Library in Sacramento.
So I'm just going to go ahead and ask everybody to mute. I'll do my best at making sure that people come in that are attended to, but I just wanted to, have the best experience. Let me just go ahead and make sure that I'm recording it. It is recording. Great. Okay. So if liver is our main filter in our bodies, one of our main filters, there's actually 5 systems. Our lung being one, our skin, our liver, our kidneys, our lymphatic system. Liver is one of the main functions, and it does over 500 different jobs. And the gallbladder, although many people survive and live long, healthy lives without a gallbladder, is a vital organ to be able to help the liver and support the liver in detoxification. And what can happen oftentimes is that gallbladder or liver becomes stagnant with too much toxins in it. It just can't get rid of all of it fast enough. And so gallstones will form. We'll start to feel sluggish. We'll start to feel not as vibrant. And I know I have, through my years, noticed when that has happened. And so tuning into our bodies is essential to tuning in to what we can do to help support ourselves. I was saying today, there are doctors that are out there in regular medicine, and yes, we need allopathic medicine, but they're very reactionary. They're taking care of a problem that's gotten so bad that you have to treat with medication or surgery or something to tamper down the urgency. But we're looking at, how do we prevent that from happening? How do we prevent and keep you out of the hospital? How do we keep you from an episode of something happening? So this is definitely prevention. It's tuning into your body, listening for what could be coming up for you as a signal that you may need to detox and cleanse. Particular today's topic is that liver and gallbladder. Okay, so I want to just welcome everyone here. My name is Rochelle. I'm with Internal Wisdom, and I've been teaching detoxification processes for the last, 15 years. My background is in clinical diagnostics. You're here talking about liver and gallbladder flush. My background is that clinical diagnostics. So we really do want to look at how the body biologically operates, but we also want to consider all of the energy that goes along with that, the thoughts, feelings, and emotions, the upset that can happen that affects our physical body from the spiritual realm. So I really am committed in creating a full and complete life for you and for me and for everyone around us, so that we can truly live in our highest potential. And I believe that that is my God's calling. So how does it all work? Let's start with that. We're looking at, I'm going to have to remind everyone, please go ahead and mute yourself. Let's do a quick mute here before I really get started, because I know there's a few people that aren't able to join in that want the recording. All right, thank you. All right, so how does it all work? So toxins enter our bodies through a number of ways. Our mouth is vitally important. Our skin is vitally important. Everything that touches our skin absorbs in. Everything that reaches our mouth can also enter into our body. Now, luckily, our body has these defense systems, the number one being our mouth for chewing, tasting. If it tastes bitter, if it tastes bad, we're going to spit it out, right? So there's this automatic thing that can happen, but sometimes we eat things and we don't know that there's toxins in them, and we eat them anyway. And that is where our stomach comes in. Our stomach is full of acid. That hydrochloric acid is there and activated, and that helps to make the foods and break down the proteins and the fats in our stomach. From there, it gets into our duodenum, where there's a little bit of bile that's added in. And we'll talk much more about that in a little bit. But we also breathe in toxins through our lungs. That's filtered through our liver. Everything in our skin is filtered through our liver. Everything that enters into our gut and intestines, filtered through our liver. You're getting the idea. It's also filtered out through our lungs. Everything should go out our colon or through our kidneys and urine, right? And also we sweat. So there's ways to get those toxins out. So theoretically, our bodies are perfectly designed to be detoxification funnels. And so we absorb nutrients through this process and breaking down. It's vitally important that that happens so that we can actually vitalize our cells. And then how fast and how well can we get rid of waste? That's really what it boils down to. So just like I've explained, I'm a picture person, so I like to use images. So you swallow food, it goes down the esophagus into our stomach. The stomach here produces what's called pepsin. Pepsin activates HCl. And oftentimes when we eat foods that are full of glyphosate or Roundup, which is on just about everything in our food systems, especially our wheat products, that glyphosate can block the activation of pepsin. Why is this so important? This is so important so that we break down our foods and fats. So the whole idea is to break down that food to fuel, fuel to energy, and that's a conversion process of breaking down. So if there's a problem with stomach and digestion, you may need to have support for your liver. we may need to have support for your stomach before we get into a liver cleanse too, so that there's some consideration for you. If you're having heartburn, indigestion, you feel like right after you're eating, like it's just rolling around in there, it's not really going anywhere. We want to talk about stomach support prior to any liver cleanse. And the reason why is that once that food goes in, and it's supposed to be, if working properly, full of HCl and very acidic, then it needs to go and get squirted with some bile in the liver right before it goes in the small intestine here at the duodenum. And the bile it's kind of like a soapy cholesterol fat breakdown. So it's very, very alkaline, and that alkalinity and the acidity from the food in the stomach combine here, and they have like a combustion, almost like an activation. And that's what bursts apart the food particles so that the body can then start to absorb the nutrients that are broken apart in those smaller particles. And that's done through the small intestine. So what can happen is there's a breakdown in that gallbladder in that process. Several people brought in a comment of like, well, what happened if I don't have my gallbladder? And that's what actually instigated me to go further down the rabbit hole. Is my future husband, we're getting married next September the 21st, this just in a few days. It's 50 days actually. I'm counting, maybe you're not. But that gallbladder, if it's gone, oftentimes the liver will take up the slack, or it'll function a little bit. Even they might have just left a little sliver and it still is working sort of. So you don't feel like you're having any symptoms. Your poop looks normal. We'll talk more about what to look for in a little bit, but still could function, but you might want to function. And there's some ox bile is one product that a lot of people use to help support or replace what the gallbladder might have done. And I can talk about if you're one of those people, when you're using ox bile, how to use ox bile, do you use ox bile or TUDCA? And there's some nuances I think that people are missing in how to use that. And again, everybody's different. It's a big experimentation. Okay, so as we're looking at the rest of the liver, what can happen? These gallstones, that bile can get thick, that can get into clumps, and we've heard of gallstones. And it's important because if that's too thick, it's not going to combine with the stomach acid in the food to create enough fire energy for that combustion to happen and break down the foods. And what happens is we don't get enough minerals in our system, and that's what our body needs to be able to recreate cells. And so it's very important, not just for your liver and your gallbladder, but for all the absorption of nutrients and breakdown of fats, and so that your body can absorb. So now we've gone over where the liver is. It's over on the right hand side of your body, right under your rib cage. So there might be some heat or pain that happens after you eat, especially you'll want to look for after you've eaten fatty foods. And we've talked about the importance, the function of the liver. What does it do? Why is it important? What does the gallbladder do? It's the knapsack that holds on to all of that bile. And that is extremely important in the absorption of nutrients. And we touched on what happens if you don't have a gallbladder. Can you or should you do a liver cleanse? And the answer is it depends. It depends on your stomach and how well you're digesting upstream. And it depends on whether or not you're using ox bile or having some symptoms or signals that your liver or your gallbladder needs additional support. So let's talk about what those signs might be, right? Because how do you know if you need to do a liver gallbladder cleanse if you're not having any discomfort or pain, if you're not having any acid reflux, if maybe your liver enzymes at your labs are normal? Would it be still a sign that you might need to do a liver gallbladder cleanse? So let's talk about that. So there are both physical and emotional mental. The physical symptoms would include digestive issues such as gas, bloating, even loose bowels, chronic fatigue, that feeling tired and sluggish, skin problems, acne, eczema, any rashes that are unexplained, especially sometimes, a lot of times, on the back of the arms or the back of the neck and head, and back.
Oh.
Headaches and migraines are another thing that oftentimes I see in my practice with people coming in that have a sluggish liver and gallbladder. And then, of course, actual physical pain on the right side of your body, especially right at the lower rib cage or in the back of your body too. Emotional symptoms, irritability or quick to flare is what I call it. When you're quick to flare, anger's right there, you're not quite sure, and the reaction doesn't match the action. So you spilt milk, and instead of just mopping it up and going, oh, shoot, you actually lose it. That might be a sign that the liver's running hot. And depression, anxiety, I oftentimes will be removed after someone does a liver gallbladder cleanse. For me, one of the main signals that I need to cleanse, besides that upset that quickly happens, is the brain fog, and I'm unable to concentrate. I just feel anxious inside, and I can't remember my words. So when I start to, oh, what is the name of that? What is the name of it? And it's right there on the tip of my tongue, but I can't find it in the organization of my brain to get it to come out my mouth. That's when I know that it would benefit me to do a liver gallbladder flush. All right, so the emotional, mental, that can happen. I also see a lot of people with sleep issues. If you find yourself grinding your teeth, if you find yourself tossing and turning at night, if you find yourself waking up between the hours of 1 to 3 every night, tossing and turning, having to go pee, fidgety, monkey mind, these are all things that really can affect your well-being and can be improved oftentimes with the cleanse. All right, so that's the problems that can come up, along with a number of other really serious health issues that can be contributed back to having a fatty liver, a liver that isn't operating at optimal functionality. I'm not going to get into the scare of any of those downward streams. We're really here for about prevention and listening into your body. Do you need to do something like this or not? Now, oftentimes, there's so many people and so many different cleanses out there and different ways to do this. It's been done for over 6,000 years. In Ayurvedic principles and traditional Chinese medicine, they're attuned more to the subtle energies of the body and have recognized that benefit of using oil to help flush the liver. And in Ayurvedic, they oftentimes would use ghee, which is a clarified butter, to do this, and different herbs, ginger root and things. Traditional Chinese medicine is using lemon and lemon water. They oftentimes combine this with a fast. And again, this has been used for over 6,000 years. And we definitely live in a more toxic environment than any time else on the planet. So although there's these wonderful history of successfully helping to support well-being through detox and cleanses from the past, I feel like there's also a need to provide additional support. So what might scrubbed our livers from the 50s and 60s, before all of the chemicals were being added to our food systems and whatever else is going on in our medical systems that are adding and contributing to the accumulation of toxins that our body now has to deal with, that maybe our generations prior didn't have. So although I really do base a lot of the principles in traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic, and believe that this stagnant qi, the heat that can be generated, this damp in the liver and gallbladder, needs additional support. And that's where I have found that the Premier Research Laboratories method supports this biological aspect of our physical well-being, also helps to support the energy of our physical well-being. Their products they have a resonance to them, meaning I don't want to say that they have prayed over them, but there's an energy to them that allows them to be absorbed in a synergistic way. And so they're very key innovations, as far as I'm concerned, for helping your body to heal on its own and to give that support so that it can reorder in a good order. And so these 20 sensory developments and these modern approaches is what I'm going to be talking about today, rather than the principles that have been used. They are based on all those principles. So we've come to the process in the presentation of, well, how do you do this thing? Let's say you've got some signals, yes, I want to give this a try, but how does it all work? I'm not quite sure. And a confused mind doesn't do anything. So I'm here to help answer your questions, walk you through the process. And then I have a step-by-step detailed process program, providing all of the links for the product. And if you don't want to do this alone, we can do this together. So that's going to be an offer at the end, because I have found it's just fun if we're detoxing together, if we get to share and talk about it, rather than just going it alone. So the key here nowadays is about the preparation, especially if you don't have a gallbladder. You'll want to definitely do this. You might even want to do this as an ongoing life support thing. But it's also very important for preparation. We don't want to just jump right into a cleanse, especially if you have constipation. If we think about our body as a drainage funnel, the main funnel going out is our colon. And if the back door is backed up, where are all those toxins going to go? They're going to have to go out one of the other channels, which is your skin or your lungs. You're going to feel not so great after a liver cleanse. So I can't stress enough, the preparation is key. So 6 weeks, a minimum of 6 weeks prior, you'll want to start changing your diet. You'll want to start eating clean. You'll want to start avoiding any of the processed oils. Now, when I talk about processed oils, I'm talking about canola oil, the safflower oil, vegetable oil. I am not talking necessarily about olive oil, but I want it to be cold press, organic as possible. You'll want to start eating these bile producing foods as well. Apples, organic, peel them if you can. They're starting to spray our apples and coat them with a peel, and we don't know. They're not having to mark them either. So you'll want to peel those and make sure that you're getting enough artichokes and beets, bitter greens, celery, fennel seed, ginger, and turmeric. If you can't eat these foods or they're not to your taste, get them in supplements. Make sure you get clean ones. PRL offers some great products for you if you don't want to get them by food and you just want to get them in. It's also important to boost fiber intake. Now, I'm cautious with this recommendation. A lot of my clients that come to me have an emotional connection and they're suffering with some sort of constipation, and that process isn't as smooth as you'd like it. So you'll want to make sure that your bowels are moving, and I can make some recommendations. For some, fiber is very helpful. For others, it may back you up more. So we don't want to do that. We want to try to make sure that you're going on a regular basis before you start this liver cleanse. I encourage you right now to eat in season. So pears, mung beans, raspberries right now are pretty good. Guava, avocados are starting to come in, and a little bit flaxseed, chia seeds. Those are all going to add bulk, nutrients, and create better flow. This 6 weeks prior, the basic 2 products that I would recommend is a Gallbladder ND and the Liver ND. Both of these are liquid. Both of these you would take on an empty stomach first thing in the morning, and they taste yummy. And I would say 95% of my clients that do this process with these two supplements feel great, even just doing this part. So that would be the preparation. The actual cleanse, so the day before, you're going to want to eat regular meals, but you're going to eliminate animal protein, all animal flesh, fish, it doesn't matter, and all oils and all fats. And you're just going to stay away from that for the day, the day before and the day of the actual cleanse. The day of the actual cleanse, you're going to fast, semi-fast. You're going to eat those apples, as many as you actually want. So you just want to peel those apples prior to, and you can drink as much water as you want. And I would recommend spring water or distilled water as much as possible. Again, not as much as possible, as far as just make sure your water's clean. I mean, I don't mean drink as much water as possible. I mean, drink as clean a water as you can. Then about 5 o'clock, transition over to this Epsom salts drink. Not Epsom salts, a regular salt drink, salt solution. I make that with pink salt and pH. I used to do this with Epsom salts, and I found that the pink salts and the minerals really help support the body in a much more clean. It just feels fresher than the Epsom salts. Feels more agitating, even though you're still getting a purge. And it's really, it just feels cleaner when I'm doing the salt as opposed to the Epsom salts. Okay, so you're going to start with the salt. That's going to create a bowel movement, generally speaking, within a half an hour to a few hours. And then after that, there is a step-by-step process of drinking 4 different doses of the olive oil and supplement mixture with the PRL supplements. This is going to force that purge, clear the bile, clear the liver, and help the body to purge. You're going to follow that with orange wedges and then this lemon, and that's going to very much help your body to absorb the pH and change the pH and help to purge the liver even more. Now, during the flush itself, you're going to want to observe what's in the toilet. And so there may be round stones, there might be green or orange or yellow looking stones that come out. Oftentimes people put a colander there so they can kind of sift through and see what comes out. I will say that the prep work that you're going to be doing with the gallbladder ND and the liver ND helps soften the gallstones so that they're nice and soft. Oftentimes we'll have some stones rolling around in our gallbladder and they're asymptomatic. You don't feel them. They're not causing problems, but you want to soften those up enough so that those can be flushed out. So you want to check your stools after you've done the cleanse for evidence of the cleanse being optimal. You want to stay hydrated and eat proper nutrition. Again, keeping with alignment with eating clean. You can go back to eating regular right after your cleanse. Post-flush drink of ginger, beet juice is really helpful. Tomato juice, carrot juice. They're all things that I'll provide in the cleanse for recipes that you can use post-cleanse, and you'll get that today. And then you'll want to monitor your symptoms and reactions too. So depending on how you feel after, it might give you an indication that you'll want to take a little break and then do this again. Many times people will do this in a series of 5, 6 times until those gallstones go away, those little round balls that come out. And they feel optimized. They feel better. Their sleep's improved. Their skin will improve. And then there's maintenance. For gallbladder liver flushes, I recommend once a year, depending on your person. This is a general recommendation. But I know I do mine. I do the 4-month deeper cleanse once a year, and then I'll do a liver gallbladder flush at least once a year. Or any time that I'm under extra stress, that I can feel that, again, my brain loses words or I'm quick to flip my emotions. I'm a sensitive I notice that when I need to cleanse, I'm usually getting more emotional, and it just doesn't match, you know? So the benefits, let's talk about the benefits. Improved digestion is often experienced. We know that we get enhanced absorption of nutrients when the filter can filter better. That bile gets more liquefied. So we've got that liquid like soap that comes in and adds in with the stomach acid in the food, creating more fire. That reaction that can happen, kind of like when you add vinegar with baking soda, you get that fuzziness, right? That's what we want. We want that so that the food breaks apart and that the body can start to absorb that. So we want enhanced nutrient absorption. We oftentimes, people report also reduced bloating and gas. So if bloating and gas seems to be up for you, let's look at the potential of doing this liver cleanse. I love this, reduced fatigue and better sleep. Sleep is so important. We underestimate the value of restful sleep and waking with all that energy, right? So enhanced vitality starts with better breath and better sleep. I love it how my skin glows too. So you want to shine through your eyes. There's such a connection between your eyes and your liver and your skin health. So if you want a clearer complexion, if you're struggling with any bumps, rashes, acne, and or rosacea even, those things can help with the liver. These things can be helped with a liver cleanse. Again, you'll want to monitor your body, making sure you do all of that prep work so you have the best result. And then reduced inflammation is definitely one that I see. Reduced abdominal bloating and discomfort and distension. And even in your wrists and ankles, it feels like you can get that inflammation to just come under control. And then for me, and a lot of people, that heat that's associated with the liver is all about passion, really, if it's in alignment. It's about rage and anger, upset. And so if it's out of alignment or if it's bogged down. So noticing that your enhanced mood stability can happen after a liver cleanse. And there's that improved cognition. I know my memory absolutely feels so much better after a cleanse. And then as I'm approaching 54 this next year, I am looking for long-term health benefits. I want to age well. I love my wisdom years. I love that my kids are off doing their thing, and I get to do exactly what I want all the time with my life. And to be able to do that, I need to feel healthy. I need to feel vital and energetic, and I need to be able to move my body. So I'm preventing these gallstones. I'm supporting my detoxification processes and pathways as a vital, essential part of aging and learning how to take care of my body, my temple, right? So vitally important. Okay. So back to the cleanse and what's included. For the first 6 weeks, 6 weeks to 8 weeks, we're looking at 8 weeks for the group cleanse to start. If you want to participate with us. So there's the liver ND and the gallbladder ND. Those are the only two products that are recommended in the cleanse. That doesn't mean that's all you have to get or can do, but that's what you want to start with, is just these two. You'll take a quarter of a teaspoon of each in water and drink it down first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. That's it. Start eating clean, avoiding unhealthy fats, get away from the processed foods, eat more whole foods. It's summer. We live in California. It's an amazing place for really clean vegetables and fruit. The master flush day, all you're going to need are those apples to help start the cleanse. And then for the salt drink, the ingredients, we've got 3 ingredients plus water. Super simple. This can even be done if you're feeling constipated. This can happen, and you can do this on an empty stomach. It's called my saltwater flush, and I do recommend it for clients that I work with that aren't here locally. And I have not had anybody have a really negative experience by drinking the Premier salt water on an empty stomach with the pH minerals and helping to regulate yourself. There's some other things that we can do if you want specifics with monitoring pH with yourself in your urine to see, just to check in. But for this talk, we won't go into detail for that. So salt flush drink, and then we've got the flush drink. So this would be the actual what you would drink 4 times during the process of the nighttime cleanse. So the olive oil, we've got the hisonol, the peristat, which is a parasite flush, and the limonene, which will help again scrubbing Mr. Clean bubbles in there, get that out, and then you're going to follow that up with some orange slices. The post-flush maintenance suggestions. Now, alicidin is the active ingredient of garlic. So you could take fresh garlic, not cooked, raw, chop it up, mix it around, drink it down. It's pretty hot, but the alicidin is an easier way to get it in, but that is a very good cleanser. Liver ND, you continue that bottle that you get. It's like a 90-day supply for 29 bucks. It's the best ever. The Haptoven is a liver cleanse liver support and nutrients for that. And the Bilivin is the pill form of the Gallbladder ND. So same formula, just in pill form. Might be easier to take. We also have found that tomato juice, carrot juice, and celery juice, 2 of each, juiced each morning and drink, is a fantastic post-flush maintenance tool. Food be thy medicine, right? All right. So how do you participate with us? How do you, if you say you want to do this, you want to get started, and you know you need support, you want to join me in this cleanse. The cleanse is short, right? So everything's prep ahead of time. I give you a page. There's, oh gosh, it's 17, 18 pages long of a step-by-step instructions and tips that goes in even more detail than what we did here today. And if you know that you want to do that, I would ship you all of your supplies, and you get to participate for $333. The price goes up in 2 weeks to $444. I love support. I love doing the group work. And this is a fantastic way to do this all together. If you have done this before, or you think, I don't want to be in a group, that's kind of like not my thing, that's fine too. Here is my discount code. You get 20% off for participating today in the group, and my practitioner code's here. But if you just hit this link down here at the bottom, when I send out this, actually, let me go ahead and put that in the chat if I can. Once I stop sharing, then I can put it in the chat. And you'll be able to order your product online as you see fit. Let me see if I can add that in the chat here. No. So while I'm adding that into the chat, does anybody have any questions for me? I'm going to go ahead and take yourself off mute.
If no one else has any questions, I have a couple questions for you. The salt drink, the prep. If you so I sometimes have heart palpitations due to dehydration. Mm-hmm. Would there be, or could there be, any potential side effects from that?
From the salt flush?
Yes.
You do not want to use white table salt.
Right.
So that would be definitely, so you want to do Himalayan salt or the Premier Research salt or Celtic sea salt, something rich in minerals. And you'll want to mix, I would start slow, Brittany, and start with like maybe a half a teaspoon. Now, these are just recommendations. You got to test yourself. I have never had anyone have a bad negative effect to having the saltwater flush. And you might get a little bit, you might feel a little something too, because it's going to start scrubbing and create a purge. Mm-hmm. So we might want to chat offline, but you have to ask yourself, why are you dehydrated? Mm-hmm. It's because your body's not absorbing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you got to ask yourself, go further and go, well, why isn't my body absorbing? I'm drinking it. Why aren't I absorbing it? So I first go with, are you drinking in a calm state? And where is your water coming from? Is it actually absorbable?
Okay.
because our water, the tap water is full of chlorine to make it safe to drink, but that chlorine and other additives to make it safe to drink kill our microbiome in our stomach, and it doesn't absorb well. Our body has to
Okay.
convert it to the fourth phase of water, which is bioenergetic water. And most people
Okay.
don't think that's just the third phase. They get a water in, you're supposed to stay hydrated, but that's not always the case. It doesn't absorb into the cell. The salt water, because it has minerals in it, when you drink that, it makes it juicier.
Okay. So I do add in Celtic salt sometimes to my water when I'm just drinking like ice water. Like to try to increase that absorption. But it is, I do drink, filtered tap water.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
Yeah.
And then,
So oftentimes I will distill my water. I only distilled water and then I vortex it to create
okay.
more vibrancy in the water. I know there's some great filters out there so that can happen and your body can absorb better. But the best thing is to start clearing your organs so that
Yeah.
your body can absorb. And
Okay.
then look at distilled water and see if adding a pinch of water to it. And then you're talking about you just add a little pinch of water to your salt water. Are you drinking that all at once, empty stomach, first thing in the morning?
No, it's usually like when I'm drinking water throughout the day, like,
Yeah,
like just, and I have some salt in there, but it's not first thing in the morning.
right. So that would
Okay.
be that's the difference too.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, there's the link. Sorry about that wait. Questions on, will you get the video? Yes, if you signed up for this presentation, I'll post the video for you. And then let's see, how many times a year do I recommend? I recommend the liver gallbladder flush. If you're just starting out, you may need to do this several times in a row with a couple of weeks in between as a break, and then do it again. And then wait a couple of weeks, do it again. And you're going to continue that. I've had people do it up to 12 times in that process because they really needed to flush their liver. There was a lot of stagnation, maybe even having gallbladder attacks and things like that. So they were on a mission to clear their liver. And the liver gallbladder flush and the gallbladder ND absolutely help support that process. Once you get all of your liver cleared and flushed out and you really start to feel good in that area, then I would recommend once a year. And it oftentimes depends on how well your body can process fats. So we're built differently. Some people can digest fats and meat and it's no problem. In fact, might even be a preferred way to get their nutrients in, even if it is statistically harder on the liver. Other people can't process them. They've had a toxic exposure or their natural constitution is a little less resilient. And so they can't eat and do the things that other people could do. And so if you're eating clean and you're super sensitive, you still might need to do a liver cleanse more often. And another person who eats heavier and doesn't and has a resilient cleansing process, they might not even need to have to do it but once a year. So it's not a one size fits all. And that's where I'm going to go back to. You have to learn to listen to your body. You have to listen to what to look for. If your poo's the wrong color, if it's light yellow like straw, you know that there's something going on with the bowel. If you're constipated, something's going on upstream. What's going on as far as the stress in your life? How do you get yourself to get into a more relaxed state so that when you're digesting, it actually goes through? So we talked a lot about the biological aspects of digestion and your liver focuses, but there's that emotional component. The emotional component of, are you in a relaxed state when you're eating your meals? Because it's going to digest differently. Are you eating right before going to bed and then sleeping on it to where you're digesting all night? And that puts extra stress on your liver and your processes. Are you eating to extreme fullness, like beyond 80%? So you want to eat about 80% full and stop. But if you're going beyond that, you're really putting extra effort into the whole system to try to get that to go through. So there's other things to be considered besides just, am I eating the right foods? It's, are you eating the right foods in the right mood at the right time, right? So, and that's a personal experience of awareness. Yeah. Fantastic. All right. Any other questions that I can answer?
I'd like to buy the 2 supporting supplements, the NDs for the gallbladder and then also for the liver. Do I need to, when I click on that link, do I need to create an account? Is that how I can get to those supplements?
Yes.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
yes. So you'll need to, they're practitioner based only products. So if you could create an account,
Okay.
let me go back and share my screen again.
Okay. Off of the link that you sent.
Yeah. So let me see if I can copy that code. Nope, goes to my dashboard. So if you go to my website, internalwisdom.com,
Okay.
and then you go to my shop, it's one of the top tabs. And you can cut this code in, and my practitioner code is here. So you can create and log in using my practitioner code, which will be on the website. And then that discount code will give you that 20% off.
Okay.
And that way it'll
right.
ship directly to your house and everything.
I'd love to do it with you. I'm just not going to be available. So this is great. All of this was wonderful. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Absolutely. You're very welcome. Glad to see you. Let's go with stop. Okay. Any other questions? Without a gallbladder, is there some of these supplements I can do without? Yes. And then, so a gallbladder, if you don't have a gallbladder, even though the gallbladder ND is labeled gallbladder ND, it's really an anti-inflammatory for your entire body. It's a combination of herbs that help to liquefy and help the body to purge. So it's one of my favorites, gallbladder ND. It's really inexpensive for as much as you get. And the liver ND in combination of that's going to help support that whole process. And without a gallbladder, you might want to consider taking that on the regular, like all the time, because your liver's doing double time. You no longer have the knapsack of cholesterols or fats to activate the HCl in the food so that it breaks down and gets your minerals. So your potential is at risk for lack of nutrient absorption. You also may consider adding in ox bile. Ox bile is basically kind of adding in that fatty that the liver would, or the gallbladder would be producing. And the thing is that you want to take it a couple hours after you eat. So you want to have your stomach still activate that acid. If you eat the ox bile with the food, you're like, it's like you have your foot on the gas and your foot on the brake at the same time. Like, how fast does your car go when you have, you're trying to bring in acid, but you're also neutralizing the acid at the same time, and it doesn't work. It doesn't give you the same effect. So you'll want to eat the food let your stomach acid, and you might want to add in some digestive enzymes. Digestive enzymes will help. Again, you want to assist your body in breaking that food down as best as you can through the stomach. Then a couple of hours after you eat, add and go ahead and take the ox bile. So you want to take the ox bile in between your meals so that it has time to get acidified, start dropping into the small intestine. Then that's when you add in the ox bile so that it will neutralize and have that combustion possibility happening. Now, depending on how fast your food digests in your stomach, you kind of have to play around with that. That's where you getting in tune with your body and like, okay, it feels like my stomach is digested some. I don't feel as full. Now I can take my ox bile and then see how that feels. So hopefully that answers your questions. As far as the additional support, there are like you may not want to add in the allocidin. Each one of those is support for a different thing. The allocidin and the peristat is a parasite cleanse. You may not have to do that all the time. That would be something you would do if you feel like there's something going on. And I'm happy to chat with any one of you. You can schedule a discovery call, and that's free on my website. Just go to website and services and book a discovery call. For 20 minutes, we can take a history and I can chat with you about more specifics if you'd like. So I hope that answered your question, Inan. All right. Any other questions that I can answer for anyone?
So you said 8 weeks, 6 weeks or 8 weeks?
Well, you want to do the prep for 6 weeks. I put the date of our cleanse at the weekend of October 4th.
Okay.
So Friday, October 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. So we're 2 months out. So that gives a week or so for ordering supplies, for you to get the process down. We're going to plan also a detox weekend that weekend, so that if you wanted to do colon hydrotherapy, we'll be doing colon hydrotherapy for 3 days in a row, so that can help assist that flush process if you'd like to. Mm-hmm. So that's when I'm getting married. Let's see, September 21st, and then we'll be getting back on before then. So that's why we're doing it that weekend. Yeah. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. It was my pleasure to present a little bit more about the liver gallbladder flush. We'll be putting out the handout for you in the Liver Master Cleanse Gallbladder Flush, because I want you to be able to do this if you want to do it. And then, of course, I would love, love, love if you want to join our group, and let's do this together, okay? All of us taking care of each other together. For now, I'll go ahead and sign off.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you.